So if you've ever felt overwhelmed working day to day in your tasks, but feeling like you're just working in your business and you're not growing towards the ambitions that you have, trust me, I'm with you. I've been there. I worked for over a decade doing the same thing, building an amazing real estate brokerage with my incredibly intelligent wife called Prime Real Estate. Now, realized my YouTube channel was on the other tab. My story started actually as a former addict. I was a functioning addict. I was working in hospitality, doing every job you can imagine. My story goes further back to actually when I grew up in Montreal, and I fell into really bad patterns. But what I found was when I broke those patterns, I realized a lot of it had to do with the frameworks of my life, right? The people I surrounded myself with, what I was doing on a daily basis, and more than anything, the deployment of resources I did on a daily basis. So I kind of just fell forward, trial by fire for the next decade. My wife and I built this brokerage from a little co-working space. It was a 135 square foot office with one virtual assistant to a globally known brokerage. I actually work as a Serhant Global Ambassador, one of out of over 20,000 people globally. There's only 7 of us, and I'm located in little southwestern Ontario, Canada, a place called London, Ontario. Now, our team's grown to about 28 people. We cover all asset classes of real estate, residential, commercial, investing, agricultural properties, land development. We sell crazy properties and crazy projects. Think of us like a Navy SEAL team when it comes to real estate. Each squad that I have, I got my snipers, I got my tech guys, I got my medics, depending on if you call me for a 30,000 square foot office, an industrial building, or you want to buy a $5 million lakefront property in Grand Band or Port Stanley, we got you. But how was I able to do that from going from where I was to where I am today? Today, I'm going to give you the roadmap so you can do it for yourself. And I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to jump in the comments. I want to see the answers to this. I see a bunch of people here. Ramon Ray, one of my favorite speakers. If you're looking for energy on your stages, Ramon Ray is a guy to follow. His smile just lights up the room. One of my favorite real estate agents in Canada, Olivier Maurice. He's a commercial real estate agent in Quebec, specializes in converting old churches to commercial properties. And Kim Farr, I see you, Malcolm O'Brien. I'm going to ask all 4 of you a question, and everybody else that I see on the live stream. I got to ask you two questions. If I could only look at your calendar and your bank account, what story would it tell me? Ask yourself that question. Like if you looked at your last bank statement and you were thinking about who you are as a person, your health goals, your work goals, and so on and so forth, but you couldn't actually tell me what those were. I wonder what that story would tell. Now, I looked at your calendar, same thing. Your health goals, your work goals, your fitness goals, your faith goals, all of these things. What story would your calendar tell me? And if you're feeling a certain way about me asking you that question, you're in the right spot because I've always been in that place. And I'm going to show you my roadmap to exactly how I do that. If you're on Clubhouse, please click the link at the top of the room. It's going to be very interactive. This will be recorded so you can go back and see everything that I'm doing. But again, I do this channel for the people. So if you find I'm talking too quickly, you want me to review any specific topics or do a deep dive, I will literally do a live training just for you. Just jump in the comments. I appreciate all of you so much. You're the reason why I'm here today. This is literally why I do this channel. So the next question I'm going to ask you is I was going to skip over that first question, the bank account and the calendar. And I was just going to ask you, what is your ambition? What would that be? And your ambition is more than who are you from a work perspective, right? Your ambition should be, what does your life look like in 5 to 10 years? Like I said at the beginning of the stream, like if you were an addict that felt like you could not get control of something that was just ruining your life and you felt like you were in a dark place, but you saw a curtain and you saw a glimmer of hope in that curtain and you just opened it a little bit and you saw on the other side of what that could be, what would that be for you? And I really want you to think about that and write it in the chat. It could be as simple as somebody saying, I'm a global speaker traveling all over the world, speaking on the biggest stages, inspiring millions of people. And I have a coaching business. That's not me. I don't have a coaching business. You can't buy me. I don't offer consulting. Nobody can hire a production company unless you're like very, very tight knit referral partner. What would that mean to you? And Ramon Ray says he's consistently recruiting revenue, paying himself more than he is now to enable me to have the freedom to travel more with my wife and volunteer more with my church. And that's such an inherent piece of who Ramon is, right? I see that. Like he speaks on massive stages. I know he's going to be throwing a banger event next year. I have a speaker for you, Ramon. Actually, I thought about this on your segment the other day. I have a world-class speaker you need to DM me about. I'll hook you up with him personally. So by him saying that, now it's going out into the world, right? And it's enabling stuff like that to happen. The other piece is, despite him speaking on massive stages, when he talks about what he does for his church, the fire I hear in his voice is absolutely incredible. And that's because that is authentically who he is, right? And the reason I'm asking you this question at 7 a.m. on a Friday morning is I think it's important to understand where your ambitions are. Yes, I'll be in New York, April 2024 remote. I'll be there for you. So here's the roadmap. I told you I'd give you the roadmap on how to do it. Let's get it to action. Get a pen and get a paper. If you're on the audio chat, pen and paper, or open up a notepad on your iPad. Let me just change this little screen share so you see my little head at the bottom of the screen. There you go. Yeah, okay. So this photo that you see is something that really matters to me. I love photography. I took this photo. I edited it in post. This is Grand Bend. This is the beach in Canada where I can sell you a lakefront property. So I've now stacked the fact that I sell these properties with a passion in my life, and I'm sharing it with hundreds of thousands of people when I repurpose all this content across all my platforms. So I'll show you how I came to be able to think about doing that. First thing I want you to do, and I started this Google document for all of you this morning. These are the 5 pillars that matter to me. I want you to write whatever 5 pillars matter to you. Mine is faith, family, fitness, fun, finances. I really want you to think about, what does a perfect day look like for you today? What you really should do is start from the year and then work back. So what does a perfect year look like for me? Well, from a faith perspective, I'm going to do this really quickly because I have limited time, but it could just be moving my relationship forward with God. But what do I physically have to do? Maybe go to one big event a year. I could commit to doing that because that is a whole travel and planning and everything too. 60 to 90 days. What can I do to really move the needle? Maybe a retreat, 3-day retreat, 3-day retreat. So I'm writing this down. Hopefully, if it's working on the audio side, that works well as well. My spelling is not going to be good because I'm doing this live. What can I do from a weekly basis? Now I'm getting into the nitty gritty, right? From a weekly basis, it's a lot simpler. From a weekly basis, I know for sure I would probably want to do church with my wife and daughter once a week. And you know what? Probably a Bible study day, because like if I'm only going to church on Sunday, like everybody knows, go to church, feel great, leave, and then cut somebody off in traffic and everybody's angry. That's what most people do. Being right in my heart and my faith really would be me going and checking in throughout the week. If I want to get really deep and I get really good at this, maybe every single day I'm doing a different thing, but that's where the day comes in. So I know morning prayer, I know nighttime prayer, and Bible reading. So I would do Bible reading, journaling, and this is what I typically do now. And what's funny is, I'll be 100% honest with you guys, I don't always hit my nighttime routine. Maybe 30 to 60% of the time right now, because I'm just running at such a pace, but I know I have to get control of it. But what gets measured gets improved. So I'm going to rip through the other 4 really quickly, and then I'm going to show you how to actually implement this from a family perspective. Maybe I just want to be kind to my family and connect with them daily. From a weekly perspective, adventure. That is literally doing something that scares us. And it could be literally as simple as going to the park and climbing a tree. From a 60 to 90 day perspective, I would say 3-day adventure. Super hack for you when we get to the work part. Don't do any recurring tasks on Fridays. I'll give you the structure, but if you put a recurring task on Friday, guess what? You can't take 3-day weekends once a month like I do with my family. You still work 70% of those weekends, but it really gives you that flexibility. And then from a year perspective, massive adventure. And man, that could be a 30 to 60 day trip. We are actually about to take one. We've built the framework so my business will operate and I will be in my business while we're traveling. But now I have the structure. From a fitness perspective, I'll train once a day at nighttime, mobility. From a weekly perspective, I'll challenge myself. So do one thing maybe out of the box that really challenges myself. From a 60 to 90 day perspective, I had a major surgery in December. I had a hip resurfacing, which is a very complicated story. But from a 60 to 90 day perspective, I just want to be able to touch my toes. I've been working on that for the last 60 to 90 days. And guess what? Last night, I was able to actually go past my toes and touch the ground. So bend. And then from a yearly perspective, what do I want to do from a fitness perspective? I probably want to lose about exercise, bring close. There you go. Apple's talking to me. From a yearly perspective, I know the one thing I've been trying to get under control is my binge eating. Because like I'll burn at such a high capacity, I won't eat throughout the daytime, and then I'll eat all of the food after 8. And that's the killer for me. After 8 o'clock, I just don't feel good. I feel inflamed. So stop eating after 8. Now that I have that mapped out, I'll show you what I do with it. Now, from a fun perspective, daily, I need to do something fun every single day. In another video I've done, I've actually mapped out, like, write down all the things that you think are fun. And I showed you a photo. I love photography. It's fun for me, right? I love paddleboarding. I love fly fishing. I love go watching F1 with my family. Like, there's a lot of things that I do and a lot of hobbies I used to have that maybe didn't integrate my faith or my family. And since then, I've actually looked at which ones can I stack, because I'm in a season of my life where I only get, call it 18 summers with my daughter and my wife. So what I've chosen to do is build out a framework of a lifestyle that incorporates the things that bring me joy to the things that matter and really allow me to feel less overwhelmed. Because if I was just going to play paintball and then leaving my faith and my family aside, and I'm spending a whole half day doing that, not that there's anything wrong with that, but if I'm not taking care of the faith and the family, when I get home, everybody knows that feeling of, oh, hey, you were golfing all day, without communicating or taking care of the first two pillars, right? So you can stack the things that bring you joy, but I want you to think about what those things could do. So from a fun perspective, just one thing that's fun. A weekly perspective, I would say one fun adventure. Now you see how that stacks with the family thing. Maybe that's taking my daughter to the Maitland, finding a new fly fishing spot. Maybe it's going out looking at animals at the pinery. You can actually stack these things together if you're thoughtful about what they are. 60 to 90 day, I will do something selfish, right? I may go for a full day or a half day up on the Maitland where I'm just clearing my head, or I'll go shoot my bow, or I'll go do things, or I'll go on my skiff or paddleboarding or fishing on Lake Huron. And I think as long as you have the framework and the understanding, you communicate that with your family and the people in your life, a lot of times they even respect you more for it, for putting parameters. I always give the top pillars oversight over the lower ones, which is absolutely key to this structure. But what's cool is I never feel guilty because it's been communicated, and it actually makes me a better dad. It makes me better in my heart with the other pieces, because I'm not addicted to the dopamine hit of going away fishing for 3 days or whatever that looks like, without taking care of the other pillars of my life, right? We can become slaves to anything. And a lot of times people don't even realize their addiction to football, to F1, to hunting, to all of the things that take them away from their actual priorities and who they tell themselves they want to be, are no different than addiction to drugs or caffeine or anything else. It's all the same. You can become a workaholic and still be an addict. You may feel good about it because you think you're being productive, but in reality, what are you worshiping, right? Are you worshiping the golf course, or are you enjoying what the golf course offers you, the creativity, the abundance, and the joy that actually comes with it? Because those are two different things, probably a deeper conversation for another day. 60 to 90 day, I would do big adventure. And then same thing, once a year, I do a massive thing. So I'll go, like this year, I went on a big drift boat trip with Maitland Mike, who's like a world-class fly fishing guide. It's something I've been working on, and it was absolutely amazing. One of the best trips. So I'd say drift boat trip. I'll just write that in, make it easy. So on the finances piece, think about what I just did. We talked about faith, family, fitness, and fun. I haven't even talked about work. Why? Because if you actually put the things you love in your calendar first, you're going to realize how little time you actually have to work. But Justin, I look at you online. Looks like you work all the time, and oh my gosh, you're so busy, and look at all the things you're doing. Yeah, because I'm good at content creation. I've done it for over a decade. I shoot videos on this channel explaining my exact process, how I come up with my ideas, how I shoot them, and how I distribute them. I have more time than most people. I pick up my phone more than most people. The biggest myth about me is I don't have time for anybody, and I'm too busy. That's probably the reason, if I ever lose a deal, why somebody may not hire me, when in reality, when they text me, I usually respond faster than 95% of people in my business. It's because of my framework, and it's because I know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. I don't give you this framework so that you feel like, oh my gosh, Justin, everything's booked to the second. I don't want to work with like that with my calendar. I flow through all this stuff, right? So I build the structure, and then I'm fluid in it. I'm going to show you that next piece really quickly. But on the finances piece, here's how you get your bank account under control. Understand where you're spending your money. So I would just say, well, every time you whip out your credit card, is this something that you need, or is it something you can think about for a week? So if it's something you can think about for a week, put it on a list, don't buy it. And then if in a week you still think it makes sense to purchase, or it's a net positive, by all means. I think we are very reactive, right? So I write down reactive spending, and then I just know that it's at the forefront of my mind and something that I'm thinking about. Now, on a weekly basis, I would just say a quick recap of the week in terms of what you've done. You don't have to look at your money every single day and all day, but from a weekly perspective, here's a framework for how I would build a business. And I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, you're in any type of sales, you're an artist, you're a movie producer. 3 things you should be doing on a weekly basis. You should be learning, you should be finding business and connections, and you should be building. So if I know every single day that I'm going to learn to be a better cinematographer because I storytell, that's how I sell my properties. I use documentary style filmmaking to show people the neighborhoods that I sell and the properties that we sell. Literally, we treat every single listing video like it is a full blown movie production down to shot lists, and it's a lot, but I love it. It's a passion of mine, right? That's important. So I'm learning right now how to actually showcase and shoot so my editors can go through less film. Then I have to find business every single day, Monday to Thursday. We are prospecting. We actually huddle as a team, talk about client files. Then we hit the phones for about an hour and a half. And we're going through a database currently of about 31,000 people. We are adding people to that database. Even if you add 10 people a day times 4 days a week, times 4 weeks a month, that's 80 people times a year. You're adding about 1,000 people to your database. You go 10 years doing that, you get 10,000 people with advertising and compounding. You can build complete freedom if you can build a mailing list and a database like that. So hopefully that's encouraging, but I do it every day. That's the key. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and underestimate what they can accomplish in 3 to 5. And every single person that I admire, all of the people on my wall of champions, creators that I collaborate with, massive YouTubers, Sean Cannell, Roberto Blake, all of these guys talk about how the main reason most people fail is lack of consistency. It's exact same in business and life, exact same in your faith, exact same in your family, exact same in your fun and your finances. So when I have this structure, it is literally everything. 60 to 90, I check my rocks, and my rocks are what are the major things I am looking to move in. And we are going into contract review right now. So every Q4, Shannon, my wife, and I look at what do we do for the brokerage and our clients. We look at all of our systems. We look at our team. We look at our org structure. We're going away on a retreat for about 3 weeks to discuss it. Us business is still operating. Team's managing everything. I'll be in the weeds, still working, but we're looking at our rocks and we're looking at what can we effectively do in 60 to 90 days. A lot of people goal set every year. If you goal set every year and don't check in every 60 to 90 days, you may as well not goal set at all. It is the most useless thing on the face of the earth. You look at it every December, you feel good, you put it away, you don't get anywhere with it. It's because you don't plan. Then I look at where do I want to be in a year? Last year, we actually made a concerted effort that we wanted to be smaller from a team size, much more efficient. I can do 1,000 deals with 20 agents, more so than I could probably do 500 deals with, call it 30 or 35, if those 20 agents are well trained and have the right systems. So that is our rock for next year. What is your rock? What is the one thing you can do in order that your entire business will be much easier? Is it hiring the right person? Is it starting a YouTube channel and gaining traction and bringing in leads that way so you don't have to feel like you're falling forward? Jump in the chat and let me know your gut or reaction of what is the one thing that you think you can do tomorrow that'll change everything. I'm going to show you how to implement this very quickly. And I'm going to open up one more tab. So now I'm going to give you just an example of how I would do this. So let's go down to the finances piece because I'm looking at it and I'm looking at my day. So I know from a daily perspective, I said, on a weekly basis, 7 days a week, these are the things that I need to accomplish. Let me just go to Google. You can start a Google Calendar and you can call it your work calendar. I personally would color code your different calendars. So I would have one for work. I would have one for your fun, your finance, your faith, your finances. And I would split it up. So when you look at your calendar, it looks like a lot, but you can tell by the color coding how much you're pouring into each cup. If you only had 5 cups and you had a liter of water and you pour them all into your faith cup, that's great, but your other ones won't compound and help the holistic life and you to be able to accomplish the things that you want. So what I would do, and this is very simple, is let me go back to my list, is I would go to, I need to learn every day. When can I learn? I could probably learn while I'm working out. Instead of me just listening to music, I could put on a podcast and do some cinematography. So I would literally go learn, and then I would say repeat daily. Nope, I actually am not going to do it that way. It does not repeat, and I'll show you exactly why. So 7 to 8 a.m. check this out. So then I'm going to click on it. I'm going to copy. Let me see if I can do this. I know I can do this on Apple Calendar. I don't typically do this on, okay, I go custom. So here it is. So I go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are my days. Those are my repeating days. I said Monday to Thursday. I said keep Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. What's cool is once you build this habit, I still learn Fridays and Saturdays. Sundays, I let the equipment rest. I believe in the Chick-fil-A philosophy of letting the equipment rest, because on Monday, you can't beat me because I'm in a better mood and people want to work with people they like and that are in a good mood. So I put this in and it's there. I got to find business, right? I said that was super, super important. Let's go back to my calendar. I'm in Google Calendars for people on the audio platform. I create the event and then I click on the does not repeat button on Google Calendar. On Apple Calendar, it just says reoccurring event. I click custom Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So then I have another time block. Amazing. I'm going to find business. You know what? I'm probably going to find business at like 9:30 to 11. That's going to make more sense. Only because I know that I'm going to have to gear up after I'm done my learning and my workouts and so on and so forth. So now that event is in the calendar. So I really just wanted to show you how you can do the time blocking. I would continue going down everything else. I would put my building time probably between 11 and 12. Then I would zoom out and I would say, okay, let's look at the year. When am I going to put my big adventure into my calendar? And just put it in my calendar. Because if you do not plan for things you are planning, you are just planning to not plan and just not do the things you want to do. So I would look at from a weekly perspective. I'd go to my faith bucket and I'd say, okay, when are we actually going to do the church thing? When are we actually going to do the Bible study? From the family perspective, when are we actually going to connect? I love connecting over making dinner. I love cooking. We make crazy food and my daughter loves cooking. She made waffles yesterday. They were amazing. And we put that time together in our calendar. And as you start looking at this and you start looking at this, it makes everything else a lot easier. And I think the key to creating the framework is it's not that you have to be rigid with it. It's that it will track to your ambitions. And when you look at your ambitions and you look at your calendar and you look at where you're investing your time, they're going to track to your ambitions or they're not. And at the end of the week, here's the super hack. I will look at my entire week and see how I did and what actually mattered to me. Then I'll plan the week ahead. The two other super hacks are 15 minutes at night. This is the biggest unlock. If you can just sit down and say, what do I got to do tomorrow, and take a quick look at your calendar and reorganize it like Tetris, you're going to feel amazing when you wake up. If you do a quick check-in 15 minutes in the morning, maybe a couple of things popped up and you did your morning routine, you did your workout and you needed to restructure things, you are in control of your life. A mentor once told me you can only control what happens to you till about 10 a.m. Give me a little thumbs up or a Y in the comments on Clubhouse or on the live stream if you feel like that's the case, because then you're reactive. This framework allows you to be proactive and really focus on what matters. The last piece that I'm going to give you before I wrap up is the finances piece, right? I said we're going to get control of your time and your ambitions. The second piece is your money. Now, here is a very simple action item. So if I was going to get control of my finances, what I would do is I would put a monthly check-in where I literally just print off my credit cards for my companies and I review my expenditures. I can tell you in the last 3 months, Matterport, I'm spending $268 on, and I have a $7,000 camera that we purchased during the pandemic. We don't need anymore because there's an amazing app for real estate agents called Casa that gives you floor plans and 3D walkthroughs for $10 a scan. So I'm going to sell the camera. I might get $4,000 for it, which I can reinvest in the company, and I'm going to save $250 a month. I'm going to redeploy those resources towards ads or something else in my company. I can also tell you we used Adobe Creative Suite, had an extra license we don't need. I can also tell you I was paying $4 a month for subscription I didn't need. On the fitness side, when I was going through my pre-operation kind of prep and then my post-recovery, man, I was doing everything. I had every 60, 40, 20, $90 subscription you can imagine. And then I boiled it all down to one. And I think if you do that on a monthly basis, even if you only find one or two little things that you can save money on, I think that's key. You'll see where you're actually spending your money and start thinking about, oh man, like doing my grocery shopping at the drugstore is probably not the best. Maybe if I do like meal prep and go to the farmer's market, that's going to make a lot more sense. And you can get a lot more tactical. It's all connected, right? You only really have three things. You have time, you have skill, and you have money. Those things in that order are how I want you to think, right? If you have no money and no skill, deploy your time to gain the skill, right? It is free. I can't even imagine people that built businesses 100 years ago compared to now. You can literally learn to do anything on the internet. People are pretty lazy these days and just want it hand delivered to them. Give us the checklist. When in reality, if you map it out in your calendar, you can make the time to become anything in this world. And that's why I'm doing this live stream, is to encourage you to do that. Then you develop the skill. Then you can trade the skill for the money. And then you can buy back your time with the money. The biggest misconception is time is your most valuable asset. It's actually attention. And what are you giving your attention to? Because I can deploy my time against work and feel really, really busy. And I get caught in the trap all the time, just like anybody else. I probably do these videos as much as therapy for me as for anybody else. But I want you to ask yourself, what are you paying attention to? And do your actions track to your ambitions? And if they don't, that's okay. Change your ambitions or change your actions. You only really have two choices. Hit that like and that subscribe button if you enjoyed this live stream. There's a million videos on this channel talking about content creation, diving into time blocking a little bit more in depth. So go check those videos out and let me know if you got any value. As always, if there's any content that you want done on this channel, I do this channel for the people, by the people. And one more little asset for you guys is if you go to justinconico.com, there's actually a resources page where you can get a lot of PDFs where I talk about this stuff. I don't sell anything. I'm not for sale. You can't hire me for coaching. I do speak if it's in alignment with what I do. And if you want to hear me dig into some incredible people that I know, like Brian Serhant, Scott McGilvery, Kim Walsh-Phillips, Glenn Lundy, many, many others, Barbara Majeski, go check out the Prime People podcast. It's the only thing that I ask of you, and leave a review if you get a second. Appreciate you so much, and I'll catch you on the next